Hi folks, I'm Lou Wood and welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely lily of the valley flower. It's the simplest of the flowers I make. It's a beginner level and here we go. This is the lily of the valley with its 3 small buds, 6 medium-sized flowers and 6 large flowers at the end. The flowers are all aligned down the one side of the stem with the 6 large ones on alternate sides as you go up. I'm going to use Smart Flex paste because it's very fine and very white, ideal for lily of the valley. All I need is a tiny ball of Smart Flex paste, which I'm going to knead up so that it's nice and soft. Then I'm going to make it into a little sausage. I'm going to roll it into a sausage about the size and thickness of a thin pencil. Once I've got that, I'm going to cut the end off because I don't need that. Then I'm going to make these. I'm going to make the first little buds, so I'm going to make these first little buds. Then I'm going to make each of the flower buds that go inside the flowers. So I need 6 medium and 6 large. So I'm going to cut 3 small ones. Okay, and then I'll roll those into little balls. As you can see, it's very nice paste to work with. Now those aren't exactly the same size, but if you think about them on the stem, that one will go last. This is the smallest one, and that's the medium, and that's the slightly larger, so that's fine. Then I'll cut 6 medium ones, and that's all you have to do, is to cut 6 medium and roll them into balls, and then 6 larger ones and roll those into balls. Now I've got my little buds all made into small ones, medium ones and large ones. They're all ready to make into the buds on the stems. What I need now are some wires. Now these are 30 gauge wires, which are roughly 5 centimeters in length. The reason they're so long is because they need to attach to the wire and arch over at the end. So next thing I'm going to do is to take the lid off my little glue pot. These are jam pots from well, hotels and things. I gather them up. This is my glue, so all I'm going to do, this is Tylo glue, so all I'm going to do is to drop a blob into the center until it forms a puddle. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if I take one of these wires now, I can just dip the wire in there and there will be just enough on the end of that wire to be able to push it into the bud, slightly reshape it because it squashed it flat, and then that will dry on the end of there overnight. You need to do this to all of the flower buds that we have so that they're firm on the stems when you come to do the next step. You can't do the next step until they're dry on the stems because they will just pull off again when you come to put the flowers around them. So these all need to be completely dry. So we do this to all of the flower, all of the buds, and then the next step is to put the little flowers over the buds. I'm going to use the FMM cutter set from the Daisy cutter set, small, medium and large. I don't need the small cutter, and I'm going to start with the medium one. Once my paste is rolled fairly thinly, I'm going to cut a medium size flower. Once I've got the flower in the cutter, I'm going to push it out onto my blue pad. You can use any colour pad, doesn't matter what colour it is, as long as you can see it. I just needed blue because it's clear to see. Now my little blue pad here, I'm going to thin the edges of these petals like so, and then I'm going to push the ball tool into each of the petals and pull it in towards the centre of the flower, cupping the flower upwards as I do it. So now you've got your flower cupped up, I'll flip it over and then push into the centre. Then I'm going to pop it over a hole. The reason I pop it over one of the holes is so that I can push the wire down through the centre. I'm going to take a small amount of glue, which I've got still in the lid of my jam jar, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue just on the bud, and I'll push the bud into the flower itself. Then I just bring the petals of the flower up around like that, and that's all you have to do with each of these flowers. I just pull these back a fraction to give them a bit of a curl outwards. The smaller ones I leave curved in, and the larger ones I pull outwards. And they're as simple as that. Each of the flowers remains the same, so that they all, the small ones tuck in slightly, the larger ones pull out, and that's all I have to do until I've got a complete set. Yeah. Okay, so we do all the flowers like that until we've got them all finished. Now I have all my flowers around my buds. I've got 3 buds from the end that don't have flowers, and the other large and medium ones that do have buds. So now it's time to wire them all together. So we need to wire them into a stem that looks like this. So starting with the buds, working my way down through the medium ones and the large ones, we're going to wire them into a stem. To do that, I'm going to need a 24 gauge carrier wire to help me, because they're not strong enough on their own to form a stem. I also need some 1/4 width Nile green floristry tape. So my first task is to take the small buds, I'll put that to the side for a minute, stretch my Nile green floristry tape to release the glue, and then start to tape. I fold the tape around the stem, squash it there tightly, about halfway up, 2/3 the way, and then I twist, and as I twist I'm squeezing between my finger and my thumb here so that it pushes it onto the stem. Now I'm working my way up to the base of the bud, not the usual way to work. I'm going to break it off there, and I'm going to finish turning it until it comes up to the end of the bud. So you now have this first one coated in green tape. I'm going to do that to each of these 3. Fold these 3 are the 3 that will fold over at the top. So I'm going to put the first ones in, and I'm going to tape them, leaving a space for this second one to curl over and the first one to curl over. Then when I've worked my way down a fraction, I'll add the next one. That's too close, so it needs to go down a bit, but I don't want to add it in here because that wouldn't allow it any any arch on the flower. I need to put it roughly here. If you look at the flower itself, when you curve it over, if you curve it over a tool of some description or a paintbrush handle, to get that curve you would need to tape from about here. So that's why I put my tape there. You get to know roughly where your tape needs to be. That's why you have 5cm wires, because of the curve on the flower. So I will push this. As you can see from this now, I have to tape from there. So I'm going to need to run my green floristry tape down further. So I now need to add in my carrier wire. So I'm going to just twist that over, take in my carrier wire, twist it down and break off my tape. Now I've got a piece here that's still showing, so I'll go back up, twist it in. Again, I'm pulling on the tape and twisting down. The reason I'm using such thin tape is because I don't want a very thick stem on my flower. I want a very delicate looking flower. That's still too high up for this flower, this petal to go in, so I've twisted it and it's gone down the stem some more. That should be really good. So there I am at the base of this bud. So I twisted it in and I'm going to go down some more now. So as I'm twisting, I'm working my way down the stem with the wire. Now I need my first 3 of the medium ones. Now these medium ones I don't tape. What I do, and I haven't shown you in this video, but if you come to a class or if I show you another time, I do dust them. I don't know how much you can see on this background, but I do dust the little flowers at the back. So I do dust the stems here and I dust the back of the little flower in a green. So that gives me a bit of colour on the stems of these. And again, this will turn over. So when you think, how far down do I start to tape? It's going to be about here. So you bring your flower in. You can bend it now if you're not sure where to put it. You can guess yourself if you want to. Like this. And like that. And like that. So that's your 3. And then they will bend over because you'll have a curve on your stem. So those 3 there will come over at about that angle. So you can now tell where this next one's going to go into. It's going to go about there. And your tape will go roughly where my tape is. So taping like this is a little bit difficult because you can't get under your flower now. So I straighten them up and I don't tape with the flowers bent. I tape with the flowers straight. And then I work my way down about another centimetre. As a rule, it's about 1 centimetre before you put your next one in. So if I put that one in there, I can see from this I need a little bit longer to get that curve. So a couple more turns, put the flower in, there he goes, put another flower in. Now I try and keep the flowers all on the one side at the top. Because then when you finish putting your little flowers in further down at the base, you can actually make them into side by side. So these are all more or less going in at the top, and then the larger ones now can go almost side by side, each side of the stem. If you go too far down with the tape, you can always come back up slightly and you just keep twisting them in until you've got them all on the stem. Then you work from the bottom, pull it out and twist it over your paintbrush handle, or I'm using my pointer tool, and looking at the top all the time. That's your buds and they're coming over that way, so you're going to curve it slightly this way, and they're going to come down this part of your stem on the inside of your stem. So make sure when you do them that you pull them around this way so that they tend to fall from the inside of the stem. Don't worry if they're the wrong way round. That one was the wrong way round, but you can soon turn it and get him to the right way round. You can use your tweezers. I find it easy enough to twist them as I go. These are quite sturdy little flowers. This is why I consider them to be a beginner flower. They rarely break. Little bits will break off occasionally, but they are quite sturdy little flowers. And they make such a nice addition to a cake as a filler flower. And that is as simple as that, and you've got a lovely arching stem of lily of the valley. It's as simple as that. So if you're a beginner, I think that would be quite a nice little thing to start with. 3 or 4 of these little stems make a very nice arrangement. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck with your sugar flower making. Thank you for watching.